So just finished up the Zoom with Zach King. This has been a 48-hour plus process that has really been exciting, also nerve-wracking, and you're going to see some of those nerves here at the beginning. I'm going to show some of the clips of the video and of the Zoom. And just enjoy. This is probably more so for me than anybody else, but at the same time, want to share some positivity and some cool things that we have been able to experience here in Nebraska. They're filing it. I got 16 kids now. Trying to file through these and find the producer is a little nerve-wracking. Not gonna lie. It's so encouraging to see all these kids. Just gotta hope something doesn't go wrong. Oh my gosh. That'd be embarrassing. Freaking. Ouch.
So it's nice to try to, be a light in that.
That's really cool. I mean, it's one of the, there's only a few YouTube channels that I feel comfortable, like, because I have 3 little girls, I have 3 daughters. Mm-hmm. We'll sit down and watch your guys' channel all the time. If it's just taking a little, there it is. He's had a busy day. I don't know if you can hear us. Hey!
Hey, what's up? How's it going?
Man, I can't say thank you enough. This is awesome. I have a bunch of excited kids waiting for you.
That's awesome. Thanks, Scott. Sorry we're a little behind here. The Q&As have slowly gotten, but we'll, at that time here.
Hey, I understand. It's the life of a teacher. I'll tell you that much. It's just, you never know what to expect and things don't always go the same way, but.
Yeah.
So just the background. So Zach, this is a 7th grade class,
okay.
And they're in Nebraska.
Okay.
And Scott's the teacher, and he's made like little magic videos too. He sent them.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. It's a lot tougher than it looks. I tried your water thing of turning the water over and keeping like the suction of the air. I probably spilt like 14 gallons of water trying that thing. I'm like, okay, is he trying to like pull a gag on me here? I couldn't figure it out, but here they come. All right, and the squad is here.
What's up, squad? How's it going?
So a pretty cool thing that they're doing here for us. They're actually getting a chance to Zoom with a bunch of different schools today. And so just the fact, I told Zach earlier that we are a small town in Nebraska of about 4,000 people. So for us to get a chance to Zoom with Zach, who's in California, if I'm correct, that's a pretty awesome opportunity for us. So I'm gonna leave everyone muted. Feel free to listen in, and then when he gets ready for the questions, you just got to raise your hand like this. So Zach, I'll stop talking and just gotta hope something doesn't go wrong.
No, I'm just messing.
I was like, oh no.
It's not on you. What's going on? Hey, so good to see you guys, and it's really cool that I can pop into a small town in Nebraska like this, when usually that would take, a day travel for me, and I get to do that a lot, but obviously not in this season. But I'm really glad that we get to hang out in this place. It's kind of a weird blessing in disguise. But I was going to tell you about my filmmaking journey, because now I'm in LA, and now I'm kind of making movies and little videos for the internet and magic and YouTube channels. And that you may have seen some of. That's probably what I'm known for in this room and setting. And hello, Chris. I saw that hand wave. Thank you. But I'll tell you a little bit about my journey. I came online 11 years ago. YouTube.com had just started. It was a few years old. It was really fresh. It was a website that you could just post for free. There was no, like you guys know today, YouTubers, and feel free to comment. I'm curious your favorite YouTubers in the chat too, so I can see if I know any of them. But YouTubers as people who have careers and they can have a business, they can have a company and a team now, and that's like AdSense is a thing and brand deals is a thing. But back then that wasn't thought of. YouTube was not a career path. It was just, you enjoyed making videos for the internet, that's where you posted them. It was that, Vimeo or Daily Motion, but YouTube ended up being front runner. And I was making these tutorials. So I was originally teaching people how to do filmmaking. And I would watch these movies like Star Wars. How many of you guys have seen one of the bazillion Star Wars films? Yeah, everybody. The Star Wars has a really cool lightsaber effect, right? It's like this laser fire that swords that they fight with. And I was like, oh, I can show people how to make that. So I went into this software called Final Cut Pro. I was teaching people how to edit that onto their footage. For me, even Zoom has been a new platform to test something out. I'm curious if let me find I know my Bluetooth speakers are over there. Let me find this music track really quick. I'm curious if give me a second, I'm gonna grab my Bluetooth. Okay. I'm always testing. It's always fun to try new things, and yeah. So for me, thank you. M. Ferris is giving me a round of applause. I'll take a bow. Thank you. There is no encore, but I appreciate that. Let's open up to questions. I think you've got some competition here, Scott. Yes, I heard Scott is a filmmaker or trying to take over my job. So I'll have to up my game here.
Maybe if my cousin could step in for me, I wouldn't be so nervous. He would do a good job, right? Whoa, crikey, I wonder if he'll invite me, Nigel Mathberry here, check it in.
Feel free to raise your hand and we can do a one-on-one question, or you can write it in the chat right there. We got McKenna.
What's the longest time you spent making a video?
I mean, the longest time will be a couple years, because what we do a lot of the times is actually reshoot. I'm not scared to throw my work away and start over. I'll give you an example here. Like, we have a lot of videos, a couple dozen that have never been out, more than that, but like that we've actually finished and just never posted because it didn't feel good or it didn't look good or we thought we could do it better. So sometimes it takes years for it to come back. A big part of what we do, it's not just me creating videos. I have a team of people that help me, and so I run the videos past a lot of them. If we have questions, they'll give their notes, and most of the team is like, yeah, it doesn't feel on brand. It's not totally family friendly. Just feels kind of weird, so we didn't post it. So we have a lot of those. Like, we try to creatively push ourselves, and sometimes it backfires, or the trick doesn't work, or the story's wrong. So but on average, a video takes us about 2 weeks to 4 weeks to put out. How has your team grown over the years, and why is having a team so important, says Scott? For me, a team, we fluctuated in terms of the numbers, but we're about a dozen people. And a team is really important because it's kind of like it takes two flints to make a fire. Like, it's hard to do by yourself. It's great to come up with the initial test version of it, which is what I call the Vine days were when I was early starting. But now this is figuring out how to grow beyond that. So when I come up with ideas, I have a writer's room, 4 of us, and I always write my ideas, we all do, on our little index cards. And to get into the writer's room, you have to show up with 3 fully baked ideas. I'll give you an example. I'm working on this idea right now called Doggy Door, and it's a really bad rendition of like a dog in my last half. But I draw the picture so that I can always remember when I go into the pitch on Monday for what the idea is. So we'll pitch the team and I'll say, hey, this concept is about Zach. The trick is he goes through a doggy door. How many of you have doggy doors? I mean, like, probably in the Midwest, a good amount. Yeah, some of you have doggy doors. In LA, it's like not as much of a thing. But I go through the doggy door, and I come out as a dog on the other side, but the dog is wearing my clothes, so we can kind of get that cuteness, and you can get that it was still Zach. And but what it needs, like, it's a cool trick. Maybe we'll film it, maybe it won't work, but what it needs is a better story. So then we'll figure out what will make this relatable to all of you watching. Well, someday when you guys get your own house, you're gonna eventually lock your keys inside and lock yourself out, or forget your keys, or in my case, I have 2 kids. They lock me out of the house now because they think it's funny, and it's not. But I add that contextualization of the story, and that's what makes it really, really fresh and fun. So we might film that, and it might not feel right, and we'll try to do it again, or we'll just scrap it. So yeah, it's always trial and error. Emma asks, what was your most memorable reaction to your tricks? I think M. Ferris actually had a pretty good reaction. He was clapping there pretty hard. Did you learn to do your tricks? How did you learn to do your tricks in computer editing? I learned to do my tricks, was inspired by my middle school days of doing filmmaking, but I learned them all throughout that time. 7th grade was huge for me. I got all the manuals for the software called Final Cut Pro. I read those every night as I fell asleep, and I learned everything I could about that software. So it was just playing with it. Same with the Zoom example you saw, just coming up with magic on new platforms is fun for me. Sometimes you think as a creative, I want to be able to do whatever I want, have whatever time limit I want. But if you're given the biggest canvas in the world and every brush and style and paint and color, you're kind of overwhelmed. But if you give an artist, hey, here's an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper and you have 8 colored pencils to use, you're often going to get a better piece of work because they have these creative constraints in their mind and a medium that they know they can play with and they can learn and master that one. So for me, the inspiration came from having that short constraint of 6 seconds. And now what's fun is all the platforms have, basically unlimited time. I think YouTube, you can post, there's still a record going for the longest live stream ever, which is I think 170 days or something insane. So there's no limit. And so I love the creative limitations as an artist. I know we had Hannah who had a question, but I don't know where your video went.
What is your favorite video?
Ooh, I love the ones where it's really practical. So we did this video it was actually a Spider-Man promo, but it was really cool. I got to climb on the wall, and the way we did that, the reason it's my favorite is because we built a room that could rotate. So picture a room this size. It has, if you zoom out, a bunch of scaffolding that makes a circle outside of it so it can spin. And then when I'm inside, the camera's fixed to the inside. So you can't tell as a viewer that the room's rotating, but I can feel it. And you can see that my body's now able to walk on the walls. So that was a really fun video to film. And I thought it turned out cool too. Although in a rotating room, you get really sick. Or at least I get seasick really fast. But if you're in a room and you can't see the outside and gravity seems to be changing, it really throws you off. I was thrown up between all the takes. I think we have time for one more question, and then Scott, I'm going to bounce to another class here. Brooker has a question.
How much money have you made off of YouTube?
Good enough money to pay for a team, but it's an interesting time for us. We're figuring out how to make videos cheaper again, like the old days, because we have no budgets coming in. So it's a mix, but luckily we do get to work with a lot of great brands that help provide. And what's cool is they provide the way we can do something that we couldn't do without them. That's why it's fun to partner with brands, even like Apple, who allowed us to originally build the rotating room. Because early on, one of my favorite brand deals was with Coca-Cola, and they were like, hey, we love your work. This is I think I hadn't done a brand deal at that point, and this is years ago. And they were like, hey, we want to help you do something you've never done before. What can we help you with? And I was like, I've always wanted to fly like Iron Man. And so we got the team from Iron Man who helped make Robert Downey Jr. fly, and they do some of the Marvel stuff. And I was able to fly, and we did this wire removal. But that's another example of videos that are fun to make because we're not using green screen for flying. We're not doing any of that. It's you see me flying, there's a way that we got the shot, and we're just removing wires somewhere. So that's always fun to do. And then I'll answer one last question from the chat, which is, what's your inspiration for the Nimbus 2000? I think you're referring to one of my most viral TikTok, where I'm on a broomstick floating, and then I come around and you reveal that the floating was done because it was reflecting the ground on the floor, and we had a pair of legs hot glued to the mirror. That video inspiration was just, I love Harry Potter. I was actually just reading one of the there's a new edition of the Sorcerer's Stone with different art that I was reading. And so I love J.K. Rowling and all of her work. And fun whole circle with that. So we made that video, and it went really viral. And again, of all people who saw it was a Universal, and they were and they have the park, and they were like, hey, we have the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. Would you want to come down and film in the park, and we'll close it down for you, and you can do whatever tricks you want. So that video will hopefully be coming out someday soon.
Hey Zach, I'll we'll let you go here, but I just want to tell you thank you. This has been a really tough time for teachers and kids, and just for you to take time out of your busy schedule and talk with us and other schools and not seek anything from it other than just trying to give back to people is such an amazing thing that you're doing. So we'll let you go because we know you're busy and have other kids to talk to, but thank you so much. I really can't say thanks enough.
Absolutely. Thank you, Scott, for having us. We appreciate it. Good to see you guys. Maybe next time in Nebraska, maybe I'll be doing a live show or something. Maybe I'll see you there. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye, Zach. Thank you. All right, guys. I think I still have everybody here, but thanks for tuning in. That was, like, I'm a little teary-eyed. You can't tell, but that was pretty amazing. I have goosebumps throughout most of it. So just thanks for tuning in, guys. I'm going to close the room here, but I really enjoyed it. So I'll give you a wave bye. See y'all.
Awesome.
Thanks again, Zach, and thanks for watching today. And hopefully you have it has put a smile on your face like it did for us too. So thanks again, and just can't be more excited about this.